Ross Tucker joins us. Always great to talk to Ross, the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast every weekday. Follow him on Twitter at Ross Tucker NFL on social media. Got an issue with what Hub Arkush said publicly about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I do, Dan. And I know Hub. I've done some games on Westwood One with him. First of all, there should be no bias when you are making any of these votes. But let's be honest, there always is. That's like the first thing I learned in college is that whether it's conscious or subconscious, everybody has an inherent bias. I mean, Hub Arkush just kind of said the quiet part out loud. I know for a fact certain guys that don't vote for guys for the Hall of Fame the first year because they don't like them, because they were jerks, and they don't want them to get in on the first ballot. They don't want them to get in at all. So this kind of stuff happens a lot more than any of us realize. And I'm not going to get all up in arms about Hub Arkush because, to be honest, Dan, in my opinion, he really just said what's already been going on and already happens for years.
But has Aaron Rodgers been detrimental to his team in any way?
Well, yeah. I mean, he missed a game. He missed a game, and it could have been a very costly game, a very important game. They probably win that game in Kansas City against the Chiefs if Aaron Rodgers plays. I personally think that is one knock against him for the MVP. I hear a lot people say, well, that Chiefs game proved how valuable he was. That Chiefs game proved that he's the MVP. Wait a minute. I don't think it should help you or your case for the MVP if you miss one. There's only 17 of them, and you miss one. Think about what that would have meant for a baseball player or a basketball player, and how your backup does when you don't play should not have an impact on MVP. Look, I'm pretty confident, Dan, if Brady didn't play, that Blaine Gabbert would stink up the joint. Is that what we need? Do we need Brady to sit out a game and have Gabbert go out there and play bad to see how valuable Brady is? I think it's funny. Look, I think Aaron Rodgers has a great argument for being the MVP. He probably is. I don't blame anybody that votes for him. But Brady has more touchdowns, more completions, more yards. They've got one less win. He's had guys banged up too. He's had guys get hurt and not play. I just think it's funny. What happened is Brady got shut out by the Saints. Rodgers hasn't had any bad games down the stretch. You know, these awards turn into like, what happened the last 4 weeks when I'm actually paying attention? Oh, Brady got shut out by, it's like when he got shut out by the Saints, Dan, it's like they turned the light off on the Brady MVP can. Like, just, he's done, shut it off, over. Let's move on to the Jonathan Taylor.
Well put. I was also wondering about this, that it feels like, once again, this is fluid. It's like week to week. Aaron Rodgers might realize how good he has it in Green Bay, because he might not like the front office, but the front office is very good at drafting players. They may not have drafted the right player with Jordan Love, but you play the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings. You have 6 games against them. Why would you want to leave that? Like, you want to go to Denver, whatever it is. I keep coming back to Green Bay still has offensive line. The defense is, one of the top 5. You're getting star players back. You got Devontae Adams there. What is it that he's going to that's going to be so much better than Green Bay?
Yeah, I think a lot of things have happened and will happen over the next few weeks that will affect his mindset there. I think the Roethlisberger send-off had an impact on him. I mean, how could it not, right? I think that is something that he will factor in. I think the fact that
meaning the embracement of the fans and that Cal Ripken victory lap, that's what you mean? It'll have an impact on Rodgers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a little bit unnatural to look at that and not think I would want that. Like, I mean, I was obviously a 7-year journeyman O-lineman. But I watched that and been like, man, that must be awesome. Yeah. Like, that must be really, really cool. And, if you leave to go to another team, you never really get that. I do think he realizes how good the team is in Green Bay. It does appear as if, he just wanted say. He just wanted a say. And when they went out and got Randall Cobb and some of the other things they've done, they've given him that say. So he's kind of got what he wanted. That said, Dan, if they lose in the playoffs again and it's a special teams issue or defense, maybe he'll still want to leave. What I find interesting is the Jordan Love component of it, because a lot of people always thought that this would be the offseason that the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers. But if he wins the MVP again, or maybe they win the Super Bowl, they can't trade him. I mean, they're not going to want to trade him. It might be time for Jordan Love to go somewhere else.
Antonio Brown situation. I said, you know what? Everybody got what they deserved here. That they did win a Super Bowl. You were playing with fire. He's burnt down buildings in 3 other stops here, and he's doing the same thing in Tampa Bay. Now, I have to look at both sides. As much as I love Bruce Arians, I think Bruce is being disingenuous when he says he didn't know about Antonio Brown's ankle injury. The guy was limited in practice, didn't practice a couple of days. He was questionable for the game. And I don't know if he checked out of that game. There was a moment where I thought Brady walking down the bench, and you could see where Antonio Brown had his arms up on the bench, and it looked like he had basically checked out of the game before he kind of lit the fuse here. So I don't know how this plays out. He said that he was told that, hey, you got to get shot up with a dangerous drug here. I don't think you spend a decade in the NFL and you don't know about Toradol. But do you think he has a case here against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that he can get paid, get released, and maybe play with somebody else?
Well, that's certainly what he's trying to do. I got a bunch of thoughts on this, Dan. First of all, one of his main problems is Antonio Brown's lost the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there have been so many things over the last 3 years that even with these text messages he's sending out, even if he's 100% right in this situation, I think he'll have a tough time in the court of public opinion because of a couple of different things. Number one, everything that's happened up until this point, but also, Dan, I've seen guys with bad ankles. I've seen guys with ankle sprains, whatever. They're not exiting like he exited that game. They're not jumping up and down in the end zone. Like if you have an ankle injury, that ankle's bothering you and you're limping on it. He didn't show any limp or anything in the end zone, which I think also hurts his cause. And here's the last thing, which I think is the most important. I played for 5 teams, Dan. There are some guys who don't play or try not to play because of injury, but it's really more mental than physical, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, they have an injury, but what's preventing them from actually going out there is what they're thinking in their head about the injury, as opposed to the physical malady itself. I had a guy one time, I'm not going to embarrass him, but this guy was a high pick. He would do whatever it took to try to not play in the game. I mean, there were times where I can remember the head coach flipping out on the orthopedic surgeon because all of a sudden the guy wasn't going to play that day, and he was supposed to. He'd practiced that week. I remember one time we were playing in San Francisco, and they did fireworks before the game. And we're all standing there, and it's foggy. It was Candlestick. There's a little bit of fog there. All of a sudden, we're about to go out there, Dan, for the first series. And this same guy is like, oh, my eyes, the fireworks got in my eyes. Like, I can't play. Like, I swear to God. And the trainers gave him his helmet. They helped him off the bench, and they're like, "You're fine. Go out there. You're fine." Like they pushed him out there. Like he did not want to. I mean, we were laughing, but that was him.
Wow.
So I think how we can balance Arian's side and Antonio Brown's side is that he did have an ankle issue. By the way, everybody playing at this point in the season has an issue. Everybody has at least one thing bothering them. I can assure you. Otherwise, what have you been doing the whole time? And I think Arians thought it was Antonio Brown mentally not going back out there as opposed to because of the ankle. And I think with Antonio Brown's history, I can totally understand why Arians felt that way.
Talking to Ross Tucker, the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. He's going to take part in the national championship game between Montana State and North Dakota State. I love that. And that will be noon on Saturday on Westwood One. He's got the Chargers-Raiders game on Sunday night also on Westwood One. Paulie, how many times did Ross Tucker play in San Francisco?
Well, you'd think a lot with the long career. I got you as one road game in San Francisco, Ross, in 2004 with the Buffalo Bills.
I was on the team for Washington in 2002 when we played out there as well. But I think that was the first game of my career I was inactive. However, you don't know whether or not that was the firework game or not. So the I team,
can we guess?
I team on it.
Okay, can we guess the player who didn't want to play because he had smoke in his eyes?
Look, you could probably Google it. I don't know if that story's ever been told, but it was hilarious.
Paulie, can you guess? Is the I team on this the player?
Is it a good player, a really good player, or a role player?
But he was a high pick. Ross said he was a high draft pick.
There's names like Takeo Spikes.
No, it's a wide receiver.
Oh.
A wide receiver. Is that
right?
right?
No, I didn't say it was a wide receiver.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay.
So it's not Eric Moulds.
You guys are so good at this. You guys always try to get. I don't want to embarrass the guy. He hasn't played for a while. He was a nice guy. He was really into video games. I'm sure he's got a great life now. I don't want to embarrass him any further. I probably talked about him on other shows before.
What does playing video games have to do with this? He's a good guy. He plays video games.
He was more intense about playing video games in the players' lounge than he was on the field, and that is a fact.
Okay.
He got more animated playing Halo in the players' lounge than he ever did on the field ever.
Oh, that's so good. I like how you don't want to embarrass the guy, talk about him, but now you keep adding more layers to this. Paulie?
It wasn't Lee Evans, was it?
I'm not saying because it just does. And by the way, it's better. It's like the whole Franco Harris Immaculate Reception.
Yeah. Well,
it's like it'll make the story go longer.
Not quite the same. not quite.
But it'll make the story go on longer, and you guys will spend more time trying to figure out who it is if I don't tell you who it is.
All right, Chargers-Raiders, final game of the regular season, and that will come down to what in this game?
Yeah, I think it'll come down to the last drive. And I got to be honest with you, I kind of give the benefit of the doubt there to the Raiders. You know, the Raiders have won, I got to check my notes, they've won 2 or 3 overtime games this year. Derek Carr has been very clutch in those moments late in games. We saw that again against the Colts on Sunday. Herbert has had an unbelievable year, you know, setting franchise records with touchdown passes. But I guess I kind of feel like even though Herbert's more talented, I kind of feel like Derek Carr is more clutch, or at least he has been this year. If it comes down to whoever has the ball last, I think it will. I think the Raiders, I'm actually surprised that they are underdogs at home in this game.
You've been on the Derek Carr bandwagon, though, for a while, haven't you?
So impressed by him this year. You know, not only, Dan, the way he's kept that team afloat after the Gruden thing and the Henry Ruggs thing and Arnett, you know, this team could have collapsed so many times. And it felt like Derek Carr has willed them to this point. But if you remember after the Henry Ruggs terrible accident, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but to hear Derek Carr say, you know, I'm going to love Henry Ruggs right now because somebody needs to, after he obviously did a horrible, I'm just really impressed by Derek Carr as a human being. I never even met him. I saw him before the Cowboys game. I didn't say anything to him. I don't think I've ever even met him. I'm very impressed from afar by the way he carries himself.
Yeah. But what is it? What's he missing that he kind of gets lumped in the Kirk Cousins category?
Yeah. It's funny because I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think he's 8, 9, or 10. I think when you are a guy that, number one, doesn't have any wow physical traits. So he does not Josh Allen or Herbert's arm or Stafford's arm. Doesn't have any wow physical traits and has not had postseason success. That is the double whammy. That when you have those two things, that you're always going to have your group of people that say, he sucks, man. He sucks. Like Kirk Cousins, he sucks. Derek Carr, he sucks. Like, unless you do things that wow them or you have playoff success, you're going to be. Now, listen, there's 20 teams in the NFL that would take Derek Carr as their quarterback. There's 15 that would take Kirk Cousins. But yet those guys still get a lot of the ire from fans because of exactly what I just mentioned.
Great to talk to you. Safe travels, Ross. As always, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my eyes, Dan. My eyes. I can't play.
That's Ross Tucker, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. So he's on the call for the FCS National Title game. Westwood won at noon. Montana State, North Dakota State. I'll be watching that. And on the call for the Chargers-Raiders game. That's also Sunday night on Westwood 1.